13,000 inscriptions. Not a single complete translation. The Etruscans taught Rome everything, from religion to engineering. Then Rome erased them so completely that today, their language remains one of history's most haunting unsolved mysteries. 700 years before Christ, while Rome was nothing but mud huts on a swampy riverbank, the Etruscans had already built 12 magnificent city-states across central Italy. They forged bronze weapons that terrified their enemies. They engineered drainage systems that transformed marshlands into farmland. They traded with Greeks, Phoenicians, and Egyptians. But here's what makes them truly unique. Their language connects to nothing. Not Latin. Not Greek. Not any known tongue on earth. Linguists call it a language isolate, stranded alone in history like a ship lost at sea. And despite finding over 13,000 examples of their writing, we still cannot read most of it. The question that haunts scholars is simple. How did such a powerful civilization leave so many words behind yet take their meaning to the grave? Let me show you something remarkable. We can actually read every letter of Etruscan. Their alphabet came from the Greeks, and we know exactly how each symbol sounds. The word avial means year. Clan means son. Pui means wife. These translations are certain. So why can't we read the rest? Because knowing individual words is not the same as understanding a language. Imagine finding a book where you recognize that cat spells cat, but you have no idea what a cat actually is. That's the Etruscan problem. We have words without worlds. Meanings without context. And the inscriptions themselves make everything worse. 90% of all surviving Etruscan text consists of tomb epitaphs. Short, repetitive, and maddeningly formulaic. If this is blowing your mind, drop a like. The Etruscans wrote extensively about religion, science, and philosophy. But those texts are gone forever. But wait. If Etruscan texts once existed, where did they go? This is where the story takes a darker turn. The Romans didn't just conquer the Etruscans. They systematically absorbed them. Etruscan cities were forced to adopt Latin. Etruscan names were changed to Roman ones. Etruscan children grew up speaking the language of their conquerors. Within 3 generations, Etruscan became a dead language, spoken only by priests performing ancient rituals that even they no longer fully understood. And then came the final blow. In the 4th century, Christian authorities ordered the destruction of Etruscan religious texts. They considered them pagan abominations. Thousands of scrolls containing prophecies, histories, and scientific knowledge were burned. The great Etruscan library at Cairo vanished in flames. Everything we don't know today might have been saved in those ashes. Think about what this means. An entire civilization's voice was silenced. Not by time, but by deliberate choice. And yet, the Etruscans still speak to us. Just not in words we can understand. Consider the Liber Linteus, the longest Etruscan text ever found. It's a linen book containing roughly 1,200 words, written in careful columns. We know it's a religious calendar, a guide to rituals and sacrifices. But the specific meanings remain locked. We can identify words for months, for gods, for offerings. But the connections between them, the actual instructions, stay hidden. Even more frustrating is the Zagreb mummy. This linen book survived only because Egyptian embalmers cut it into strips and wrapped a corpse with it. Random chance preserved what intentional destruction tried to erase. Fate has a strange sense of humor. But here's what nobody tells you. We're actually making progress. In 1964, scholars finally cracked a major piece of the puzzle. They discovered that Etruscan uses something called agglutination, stacking suffixes onto root words to change their meaning. This single breakthrough unlocked hundreds of previously mysterious passages. And it gets better. In 2019, a remarkable discovery at the sanctuary of Poggio Colla revealed a stone stele with the longest religious inscription found in decades. But that's not even the most important part. Stay with me. Because what DNA evidence revealed about the Etruscans in 2021 changes everything we thought we knew about where they came from. And that origin story directly connects to why their language stands completely alone. Subscribe if you want to see how this mystery ends. For centuries, the question of Etruscan origins sparked fierce debate. Ancient writers claimed they migrated from Anatolia, modern Turkey. Others insisted they were native Italians who developed in isolation. The mystery seemed unsolvable. Then geneticists entered the conversation. They extracted DNA from Etruscan skeletons spanning 800 years of burials. And the results shocked everyone. The Etruscans were genetically almost identical to their Italian neighbors. They didn't come from anywhere. They had always been there. But if they develop locally, why does their language connect to nothing around them? This is the paradox that keeps linguists awake at night. Their DNA says native. Their language says impossible outsider. Drop your theory in the comments. Did you see this twist coming? Some scholars now believe we've been asking the wrong question entirely. Here's the revelation that changes everything. Languages don't always follow genetics. The Etruscans may have been genetically Italian, but they inherited their language from a population that existed before the Indo-European migrations swept across Europe. They were linguistic survivors, carrying a tongue from before recorded history. Think about what this means. When we struggle to read Etruscan, we're not just encountering a dead language. We're touching a world that existed before the ancestors of Greeks, Romans, and Celts even arrived in Europe. The Etruscans were a living bridge to prehistory, and their 13,000 inscriptions are windows into a vanished age. We can read the letters. We can sound out the words. But the meaning belongs to a world so ancient that even the Etruscans themselves may have forgotten where their words truly came from. Today, the Etruscan language remains partially locked. We understand perhaps 60% of vocabulary, enough to grasp tomb inscriptions and some ritual texts. But the deeper meanings, the philosophy, the stories, the jokes they told, those stay silent. And perhaps that's fitting. Some mysteries deserve to remain mysterious. The Etruscans gave Rome its kings, its religion, its engineering. They shaped the civilization that would conquer the world. And in return, they were erased so thoroughly that even their words became riddles. 13,000 inscriptions stand